You know, YouTube can be confusing. And when I was just starting out on YouTube, I made a ton of mistakes that I wish I would have had some information at the start so that I could have avoided the pain and frustration that just not knowing what I didn't know caused. So, in this video, I'm going to be bringing on two special guests, and we're all going to be processing the things we wish we knew before starting YouTube. And we actually have 13 different things. So buckle your seatbelt, hit the like button if you're fired up, and get ready for today's deep dive training about getting more views, growing your subscribers, and really learning some of the things that nobody else is talking about when it comes to growing a YouTube channel. But hey, if we're just meeting, my name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel. Yes, it does. And this is the Think Media Podcast channel. And I'm fired up because today we are learning from two special guests that are absolutely crushing it on YouTube. The first is Mary's Nest. And she is going to be, she has almost 1 million subscribers, has a channel. I'm going to bring her on in just a second, talking about the traditional cooking for the modern pioneer. And we'll look at her channel. But Mary, how's it going?
Oh, hi, Sean. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
I'm so fired up you are here. Can you just tell us a little bit about how long have you been on YouTube? What is your channel all about? And just a brief snapshot of your story.
Well, I started making videos in July of 2018. I had taught traditional cooking in my kitchen for years. And when I became an empty nester, I needed something else to do. And my husband and son encouraged me to put my cooking classes online. And I teach, as I said, traditional cooking. I teach how to make bone broth and ferments, cultured dairy, sourdough, things like that. And over the years, it's kind of broadened to include other things like home remedies with herbs and stocking the pantry and so on and so forth. And just all about basically, how to make as much as you can homemade, like being a modern pioneer in the kitchen.
So amazing. And you've gone from 0 to 849,000 subscribers. And so I can't wait to get into your tips in just a second. But next up, we have Dr. Andrea Furlan. And she's got an incredible channel talking all about chronic pain and has had some incredible open door opportunities because of her channel, almost to 500,000 subscribers. Dr. Andrea, welcome to the show today. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Can you tell us a little bit about your story, a little bit about your channel and the mission and vision of what you're doing over here?
Yes, of course. So I am a physician in Canada, Toronto, and I work in the pain clinic in downtown Toronto, and I see lots of people with chronic pain. And most of what we do, Sean, for chronic pain is education. And I spend a lot of time talking to my patients, telling them about, the diagnosis that they have and then what they have to do. And then sometimes I have to go on their bed and show them how to do the exercise that I want them to do. And so I was spending a lot of time with my own patients, and I started in 2019 with a simple cell phone, recording myself at home. And said, I'm going to put myself on YouTube just for my own patients. And whatever I tell them in the clinic, I'm going to record. And it seems that it's not only my patients that like this, but a lot of other people.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I actually personally have dealt with some chronic pain issues, repetitive strain injury. We were just talking off camera about, nerves originating from my neck and hand pain. So you're such a blessing to hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah,
But of course, both Mary and Dr. Andrea, we all started 0, and you guys started at the very beginning. We have 13 tips that you kind of submitted ahead of time, and we've consolidated those into some actionable points. I want to start with you, Dr. Andrea. The first tip, and then we'll go to Mary on this one, is YouTube has some advantages over other social media platforms. Talk about what you've experienced in building your influence on YouTube specifically and what you mean by that.
Yeah, I've been on Twitter since 2009, 2010. And I tried to grow on Twitter and then on Facebook and Instagram. I wanted to have a place where I could put my knowledge. It seems that I have so much knowledge in my head, and I wanted to teach people. And I couldn't grow on Twitter. It's they don't allow this. It's not a platform for education. And then the other option would be blogs. But I would say my patients don't have patience because chronic pain affects your concentration. You are tired. I don't think they would be reading if I put all of this information in a book or a blog. So I decided to put in a video. I think video people can watch and understand what I'm saying. So it was fantastic for what I wanted, to educate people who have chronic pain. Much better than the other platforms that I tried before.
And one of the things you mentioned was YouTube's different because people can find content that you have literally posted years ago. You have videos that are years old that are still getting views. Right now, your channel is getting 1.3 million views a month, 14,000 new subscribers. Congratulations on that. And, here at Think Media, we talk a lot about ranking videos. And I love this. This is actually a feature from vidIQ that allows us to see videos that are 3 years old that are still getting 5 views an hour. Your exercises for neck pain. It's a 3-year-old video, and 5 people not only are getting views and you got the ad revenue and everything else, but you're also getting, of course, impact. You're changing lives. And I'm going to bring Mary on because, Mary, you've been experiencing this as well. Like, what made you choose YouTube? Why do you like YouTube? And, it being different, do you have some videos that are older that continue to get views?
Oh, definitely. Some of my very earliest videos are some of my most active that really do continue to get views. I started with putting out the first 15 videos all about like making basic things under the umbrella of things that I teach, like the bone broth. And those are the most popular, and they continue to be searched and come up in search, and people watch them. I will still answer comments on those videos even.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, we're seeing here, this bone broth recipe from 5 years ago gets 34.8 views per hour, which is the dream. This is why we all love YouTube, because other social media platforms are cool, and Instagram's a cool place to engage with other people and whatnot. And of course, we do love all the platforms, but YouTube has a better advantage than all of them because it's the only platform where your content lives forever. Which brings us to number 2. Success on YouTube takes hard work and patience. We're going to start with you, Dr. Andrea. You mentioned even at times feeling emotions like wanting to quit. Break that down of what you've learned for what it really takes to build a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. It takes hard work. It's not easy. And you have to learn a lot of things. And thanks God for VRA and Think Media, because I don't know where I learned those things. And I read your books, the first and the second edition. But, it's hard work because you have to practice, you have to try. And then sometimes I put a lot of effort in one video and I say, this is going to hit. I love this one. And then nothing really exciting happens. I get views, but I get people unsubscribing. Like when YouTube shows you how many people subscribe for each video. And then I say, oh my God, I lost 20 subscribers with that video. What happened? So it's disappointing. I say, I'll stop doing this and just leave things there. But then I go and I read the comments and people being helped and people all over the world, really thanking what I do and sharing my knowledge. And that's what gives me energy to keep doing what I do. But patience is key in this. I had videos that they did nothing. They were quiet, very few views for 18 months. And then boom, one day I see what's going on. I'm getting a lot of comments on this video. Then I know people are watching more. And then I go and see the analytics for that video. And it's a vertical line like this. I don't know why. I have no idea. But once in a while that happens. That happened with some of my videos on diet, like the vitamin D, I think the anti-inflammatory diet was also like that, like a surprise a long time after it was published.
I love that. And I've seen that same thing happen for me, where it's something about there's results goals and there's action goals. Results goals are like, I want to get 1,000 subscribers. Action goals are, I'm just going to keep posting videos and I'm going to let the results speak for themselves. And maybe it doesn't happen as fast as you want it to happen, but as you keep posting videos, a couple break out, and then the byproduct is the result that you wanted to set a goal for. And Mary, I know that you have some experience with this as well. When we were connecting with you before, you started with buckle up and prepare for the journey. Success on YouTube takes hard work and patience. What has been your experience with that?
Oh, that is so true. I will say this is the hardest job I have ever had. The amount of work involved in making videos is challenging. You know, I agree with Dr. Andrea. Thank God for VRA. Thank God for your books, Sean. I mean, because without them, I wouldn't have known what to do. It would have been so overwhelming. I would have gotten very discouraged very quickly. But following your plan and just saying, okay, this is going to be a lot of work. And especially someone like myself, I had no experience with doing any of this. I'm in my 60s, you know, and I just took one day at a time. And there were times that I could so relate to what Dr. Andrea is saying. You make a video, you work so hard at it, you do such a good job, then nobody's watching it. Or yes, people unsubscribe and you're like, oh my gosh. But you have to just have a tough skin. You got to buckle up, as I said, for the journey, and persevere and be consistent and just keep following the formula that you provide, Sean, in Video Ranking Academy. Follow the formula, get some type of schedule for yourself and say, every week, I'm going to put a video out. In my case, you know, every Saturday morning, I'm going to make sure I have a video to put out. I'm going to do the best I can with it. And I'm going to tell myself, if nobody watches it, fine. If I get unsubscribers, fine. I'm just going to be patient. I'm just going to persevere, because something that I really believe, and I think this is so important for people to understand, is that there are people coming on to YouTube every day, hundreds of thousands of people, and they're looking for someone to connect with. And they may not have found that person yet. And you may be that person. And then eventually, just like Dr. Andrea said, one day you're looking at your analytics and you have a video that gets this hockey stick effect. And it's encouraging and it helps you persevere, but you've got to stick with it even during the down times, even during the difficult times. You just have to say to yourself, this is the best platform there is. Yes, there's other social media, but you know, also as Dr. Andrea said, it's very difficult really to grow on those other platforms. But if you're patient and if you stick with the program and if you're consistent and you just tell yourself, okay, not every video is going to be perfect. Not every video is going to be successful, but it may down the line. Someone may find you and then say, as Dr. Andrea says, she gets emails or comments from all over the world, people saying, oh, I really like you. Oh, I really appreciate this. I'll get comments where people will say, oh, I've been looking for someone who could teach me this and teach me the way you teach it. You know, and talking about Dr. Andrea, when I'm a fan of her. When I found her, I was like, oh my gosh, I have arthritis of my hip. I'm doing your exercises, like I told you earlier, you know? And so you just have to be patient and you have to persevere. Keep your spirits up. Just keep plugging away. It's something, you know, that we enjoy doing. We have something we want to share. And that's basically it, you know?
Basically, trust the process.
Yes, trust the process.
Yeah, trust the process, that it's going to work. And if you give up early, then a lot of people give up early. And those are the competitors of my channel that I'll say, okay, you want to give up? I'll keep going. And that's the deep, right? Where a lot of people leave and they don't come back. And I said, no, I am going to persevere. I trust the process, and let's go. Keep pushing record. Press record, as he
You
said.
gotta just press record,
Just,
man.
yeah.
I
Those
am
words are in my mind all the time. You just have to press record.
I am fired up. Like I'm literally like buzzing with energy. Just you're really encouraging my spirit as well. Just to hear the bombs already dropping about the reality too, about the hard work that goes into this. And I can't wait to get to number 3. But a couple things. One, if you're getting value, hit the like button. We're talking about 13 things we wish we knew back when we started on YouTube. The first one was YouTube has advantages over other social media platforms that they don't have. Also, success on YouTube, number 2, takes hard work and patience. And we're going to get to the rest in just a second. But we are also streaming this. We're streaming this on our Think Media podcast channel and in our challenge community. If you haven't heard, we're doing the Tube 1K challenge. And I want to make sure that if you still want to get in, there's limited replays for it. It's entirely free. And so you can register at learnvideo2023.com. And we'll put a link in the description down below as well to be a part of the free challenge. And also, if you're in the challenge group, we are doing a giveaway during this session and some extra. We'll do a couple questions at the end and whatnot, just in the challenge group. And so if you happen to be watching this publicly, then get registered and get inside, because we'll be cutting the stream after the 13 points. And then going into that next section. And so I want to get into number 3, though. And Mary, you hit this one with some very detailed wisdom. And it was this: be prepared for negative comments. One of our greatest fears, I think all of us, is just the fear of other people's opinions in general, the fear if we're going to get backlash. And I would love for you to share some wisdom on that. What's been your experience with 849,000 subscribers? I could imagine you've maybe had a hurtful comment or two on some of your videos, just by the sheer size of the influence of channels that you've reached. I mean, you have 45 million views on your channel. It's just a lot of people in a lot of different moods at a lot of different times of their day. And so what have you learned about being prepared for negative comments?
You know, in the very beginning, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I think I was crying, you know, this is the very beginning. And then after that, I think maybe my husband was like, what's wrong? Why are you crying? You know? And I said, oh, someone left me such a mean comment. And he says, well, what did they say? And I would tell him the comment, and he has a very good sense of humor. And so he would like have a little, I don't know what they call it, like a little back talk type thing. I would never publish it. I would usually, in the beginning, I would actually I would comment back to the person. I'd say, oh, I'm so sorry that what I said you didn't like, or, you know, giving this big explanation. And then I would just send it. And then I would say a prayer for them, and I would just try to get it out of my mind. But you have to be prepared for that. But if you can, over time, just think, well, God bless them. You know, maybe they're unhappy people. There are people who say mean things in life. And so I always find just saying a little prayer for them and just delete the comment and move on. But if you have anybody in your family or your friends who has a good sense of humor, you should share the comments with them, because I'll give you an example. One time, a man left a comment that said, why did this Weeble Wobble come up on my homepage? I want to see a real person who can make bone broth. And I told my husband the comment, and Weeble, you know, I'm an older lady, I'm a little chubby, you know. And my husband said, oh, just tell them Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. You know? And then
amazing.
Another time, somebody said, oh my gosh, that woman needs to put down the fork and stop eating. Jeez. And my husband said, to ask them, are you going to finish that? You know? You know, and just silly little quirks. And then I just started laughing about it. But in the beginning, I will confess, now I don't even notice it, and I'll, you know, just delete it. And like I said, just say a little prayer for them. Obviously, it's an unhappy person. But when your channel gets bigger, you can't always see every single comment. And every once in a while, I'll come across one where someone left something mean and I wasn't able to delete it. And this is something that you can look forward to, you know, for those of you who are new to all of this, as your channel grows. Your viewers who love you will defend you and will tell the person they need to leave, which is kind of, you know, that gives you a nice feeling. But yes, in the beginning, you just have to, you got to start. I would say if you're going to be on YouTube, if you're going to make videos, you need to start getting a little bit of a thick skin. You need to say, I'm here because I want to provide something helpful to people. And I know that there are going to be people who may say unkind things, but I'm going to move past that because I have a service and I have interesting information to share. And I never want a handful of people to keep me from sharing that information and making it available to help other people make their lives better. And there's many more people who appreciate you helping them, teach them something to make their life better, and who count on you to show up, whatever your schedule is, every week, a couple of times a week, once a month, whatever the case may be. Is they're counting on you, and they're looking for you to be consistent and persevere and push the negative comments aside.
That's some powerful advice. And I'm curious for Dr. Andrea, have you experienced any negative comments, and what
No,
has kind
never.
of been
You're joking. No. Oh my God. Of course. In my case, I have to approve every single comment that is posted on my channel. And I do that. So I have to read every single one. I can't answer them anymore, all of them, but I do this because people really, sometimes they disclose medical information, their symptoms, and then they say, please, Dr. Furlan, contact me. Here's my cell phone, my address, or my email. So I can't allow comments just to go freely on my channel. So when I read comments, if they are negative comments, I approve them. I do approve. I don't delete. I approve. And sometimes if they disagree with my medical opinion, I answer them as long as they are polite and as long as they are, you know, not disgraceful or something that using not bad language. But sometimes they comment on my accent. They comment on my appearance. They comment saying that she doesn't know anything about this topic. I approve those comments, and sometimes I just ignore them. I don't even, I only answer the ones that I think my response will be to demystify some things that they were saying. Like if they say, you said something wrong about the anti-inflammatory diet, and especially the canola oil. A lot of people disagree with what I said about canola oil. So I go and I respond. If people have, if they use some bad language, then I don't approve. If they say anything bad, and they do, and then I don't approve, and I block that person from posting any other comment on my channel ever. So I have some rules, and but most of the time I just ignore them. In the beginning, I was crying like Mary, but now I think I just my thing must be this thick, and I just ignore, and I say, okay, another comment about my hair, my accent, my voice, the colors that I use, whatever. It's okay, fine.
I tell you what, this is all too real. And number 3 is be prepared for negative comments. You know, some practical tools that YouTube gives you is there's a filter where you can filter certain words, because sometimes maybe people talk about your teeth or your hair or something. You can actually just trigger words so they at least go to having to be approved. I love that Dr. Andrea said she's pre-approving them. And then Mary's learned that over time, you kind of just get used to it. And we all have found that if we imagine a world where we never stepped out and never faced backlash, never faced criticism, never faced, it's not that maybe we would have avoided the pain of 1 or 2 negative comments, but we also would have avoided the impact and purpose of impacting thousands of people. And so negative comments kind of come with the territory. There are some tools. You don't have to turn comments on. We do recommend doing that because of the community thing, and such great advice there. I got a comment recently where someone said, "You are the oldest looking young person I've ever met." And I was like, thanks. I appreciate that. It's maybe a little bit of gray in the beard. I'm like, what is he, a child, or is he a wise wizard? We don't know. But we got to get into number 4. We're going to do a quick one on this one. Because Mary, you submitted this. You said that audio is more important than video, basically. Talk about, like, you talk not worrying too much about the camera, but that audio is a big deal. Break that down.
Oh, that is so true. I don't really think it matters when it comes to filming. Today, the cell phone is amazing. Any camera is amazing. The picture is going to be fine. But if your audio is not good, everybody's going to notice. Everybody's going to click out of your video. You have to make sure that your audio is good. And in some of my earlier videos, there's like crackling, and then sometimes we would film and then we would have no sound. Oh my gosh, so frustrating. And the thing is, and I'm almost a little embarrassed to say this, but maybe there are some people who can relate to this. You have to make sure that your audio is good because you have to know how to use your mic. My husband and I had, as I shared with you, it's just my husband and I who do this. And we had to learn. I don't care how old or young you are, you have to learn how to use your mic. You have to make sure that you have all the right settings. And even if you have a cell phone, you have to make sure that, because sometimes depending on where you're filming, it can get very echoey if you don't have like a special little mic attachment, for your cell phone. And that I realized in the beginning, we were so frustrated because we couldn't figure out how to properly use the microphone. And the sad thing about it is, do you know all it took? To call the manufacturer's 1-800 number, and they explained it to us. And today, I'm sure there's plenty of videos on YouTube that'll cover pretty much any microphone. You have so many fantastic videos that explain in detail how to use different mics and how to familiarize yourself with them. And the quality of mics today, I think, is fantastic. But know how to use it. And you will save a lot of time because you're going to get, you're already dealing with, sometimes it's a heavy work schedule, making your video, and maybe you have family, maybe you have young children. There's so many things. We have a 100-pound lab. He has to go to doggy daycare when we film, otherwise there would be no filming. So you have to make sure that you maximize that time that you set aside to film. And so spending hours like trying to figure out the mic and then having problems with it and then filming, oh my gosh, it can be so frustrating. So that's just know how to use your microphone. Good sound makes all the difference in the world. If your lighting's not perfect, nobody's going to notice if they can hear you, because a lot of people will just be listening to you.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And I think we can just put yourself in the seat of the viewer, because as viewers, maybe we're not judging the video quality too bad, but if it's hard to hear the person, or if it's crackly, or it's even hurts our ears, you can really lose audience retention with bad audio. And so that was number 4, which really leads into number 5. And that is, you'll get more views when you put the viewer first. One of the things we share here at Think Media is it's really not, you can make selfish content or you can make service content. And not that anyone is selfish on YouTube, but sometimes if a channel is all about you, well, then what's in it for the viewer? And so I want to start with Dr. Andrea and then go to Mary. You had some powerful thoughts on this. It's about like putting the viewer first. I mean, what is the mission of your channel? It's really the viewer that you're serving that's at the center of it. Break it down.
Yeah. That's so true. So when I am recording the video, I look at the camera and I always try to imagine one of my patients behind the camera. That helps a lot because I'm talking to that person. And then I just talk to them the same way that I would talk in my clinic. So it's not about me. I never say anything about me and what's happening to me. It's all about their symptoms, where is your pain, and I want them to understand. So I am a teacher by heart. I am a professor of medicine at the University of Toronto. So I teach other doctors, I teach medical students, I teach residents. So when I teach, I am thinking, are they understanding what I'm saying? But when I'm teaching in person, I'm looking at their eyes, and there is this eye contact, so I notice if they are, paying attention or not. But it's hard when you're talking to a camera. You don't know if the person is paying attention or not. But I always try to imagine a patient, a person who is going to listen to this. Are they understanding? Am I clear or not what I say? Because in medicine, you can use a lot of medical terms and difficult words like cervical radiculopathy that I was telling you before. And so then when I say those long words, like central sensitization is a big problem that we have in chronic pain, fibromyalgia, then I know I'm going to write, my editor is going to write on, behind me or on my site that word. And I know I want just to make it clear. And I think that connects with the person, right? It connects with the viewer, that they feel that I'm talking to them. I read scripts. Most of the videos that I'm, not the exercise videos, it's spontaneous, but the ones that I'm teaching a lecture, I read scripts. I write the script and then I read it. But I try not to read too much. I try to look at the camera because I know they're going to see eye on eye, right? So the viewers, if you think about the viewer first, you're going to be successful. Don't try to promote yourself. Don't worry about your appearance. Although I do a little bit of touch-ups, I do a little bit of makeup, I go to the hairdresser before I record, because now I started doing this last year, Sean, because to make me more efficient, I go to the hairdresser Saturday morning, and then Saturday afternoon, I record 6, 7, 8, 9 videos with the same hair. I just change my wardrobe. But I do worry a little bit about my appearance, how I look like, because I like to see myself, as a professional doctor there. But that's how much I worry about myself. Everything else, what I say, the message, is thinking about those patients who will be in pain and trying to understand what I'm saying.
You dropped some nuggets there too, because I think that's incredibly practical. I think a lot of people are encouraged by hearing, oh, okay, so you kind of have eventually a cadence of when you're getting your hair done, batching 8 to 9 videos in one day for busy people. It shows you how it's possible to stay consistent on YouTube. And I even think actually caring about your appearance is a service to the viewer. It's just being thoughtful about on camera, thoughtful about the audio, thoughtful about the visual. It's building out your own brand. But of course, the viewer is front and center. And Mary, you really talked about this, and it just struck me because this is something that I think comes natural to you because you're such a person of love and service.
Thank you.
But at the same time, you said, I knew from the start the channel was never going to be about me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I think a lot of us, when we start on YouTube, we think about it as our tube. It's your tube. You know what I mean? We think,
Yes.
oh yeah, it's all about me. It's the me show. And I get it. There's room for, of course, entertainers and people that might have that kind of brand. But especially here at Think Media and Video Ranking Academy, we've also just discovered that the most practical pathway to success is also making it about the viewer. And I'm just inspired by that phrase. Break that down a little bit about, putting the viewer first and what that means to you.
Oh, yes. I think that's so important, because after you might have the vision of what you're going to make your videos about, especially when you're in the how-to business, so to speak, like me and Dr. Andrea, where we're teaching something. But once you get those first few videos up, you need to really pay attention to the comments. And you really need, if you have a website like I do, you really need to pay attention to the emails. And you need to see what your viewers are asking you for, what they're struggling with. And just like Dr. Andrea was saying, the people will tell her, I have this pain or that pain. I would get, similar things that their pain point, so to speak, was, struggling with sourdough or the bone broth, not being rich and gelatinous, and what were they doing wrong? And I realized that I really had to stay on that mission, so to speak, of always putting what the viewer wanted, always answering the viewer's needs and questions, and never making it about what I wanted to do. I might have said to myself, oh, gee, I was planning on doing X, but that may not be what the viewer is interested in. And as you make more and more videos, it really helps you fine tune what your viewer wants to learn from you. Why did they come to you in the first place and maybe watch one video and then maybe watch another one and then maybe subscribe? And if all of a sudden you start making the channel more about yourself and talking a lot about yourself, you're going to lose them and they're going to be upset with you. And I learned that early on. This is definitely about things that you wish you knew or whatever. I would talk to other creators. That's the thing about YouTube. Even though there's a lot of people on YouTube, YouTube is actually, I feel it's like a small community, and you get to know a lot of people in your niche. And it goes back to what we were talking about before. It's hard work. You got to be persistent. You got to stick with it, but it's very doable and you can have success. But you always need to be putting the viewer first and thinking about what the viewer wants from you. Because I would talk to other creators and they would say, oh, I'm getting a little tired. They X and such, they always want to see this video or that. And I just really want to do this. And maybe I want to vlog and whatever. And I would say, no, you have to give the viewer, they came to you in the first place for a reason. And I think if you don't, yes, you have to follow trends in your niche and definitely respond maybe to things that are under your umbrella, so to speak, but maybe not specific to exactly what you started with, because everybody grows when they're on YouTube and broadens a little. But again, all of that growth, all of that broadening is because it's how your viewers are directing you.
You just dropped some major bombs, and I encourage everybody to rewatch that entire part there, because it's also true. I mean, you joined our program Video Ranking Academy back in, I think we were saying 2016, and then you started posting in 2017, and then you started posting in 2018.
Yes.
And it's easy. Then you go 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 4 years. It's easy to get almost bored sometimes too, or you just kind of want to get distracted. And you're like, exactly like other creators will say, I just kind of want to go do my own thing, which is, yeah, you got to express yourself and you got to, evolve, and you want to make sure there's still joy in it. But your commitment to keeping the viewer central, I think, speaks to why you're about to hit 1 million subscribers. I mean, you literally are going to get a gold play button. And that really also ties us into tip number 6 here, which is, the more focused your channel is, the faster it will grow. This is hard for people, because what people are like, oh, do I need a niche down? Do I need a niche? But the thing I would say is, that's why we kind of reframe this point. Okay, niche is important. We have a course called Niche Finder, but I think a word I like even better in 2023 is focus. Like, what's the focus of your channel? It's hard to follow someone that is distracted. It's hard to follow somebody if you don't know where they're going. So what's the focus of your channel? And so, Dr. Andrea, you mentioned this one as well, and you have a clear niche. What have you noticed in terms of how that's helped your channel grow?
Absolutely, because some people ask me, they write comments, or my colleagues, they ask me, oh, can you do a video on this or that? Like, I just got a comment this week, can you do a video on tinnitus? And I always respond saying, I already have a canned response that I say, sorry, that's outside of the scope of this channel. This channel is about chronic pain. I only do videos about chronic pain, because it's easy for me to talk about many other topics of medicine, and then I could be deviating, but I have to focus, and I have a list of topics that I want to talk, and I make a list and I say, does it fit with my scope? Which is also things that I feel comfortable. I cannot talk about everything in chronic pain, so I don't talk about interventions that I don't feel that I'm an expert, and I don't pretend that I'm expert. And when I do that, I ask some experts to review my scripts and to check for me if the evidence is proper or not. But if I want to touch everything, about pain, like acute pain. Acute pain is different from chronic pain. I'm not expert in acute pain. I don't work in the emergency department and treat people who come with acute pain. So I'm not going to talk about that. I talk to people that develop chronic pain. Chronic pain is a different disease. So you need to focus and narrow. And I think your audience can relate to that, because then that's what they signed up. They subscribe to my channel because I talk about chronic pain. So that's what they're going to find in my channel.
That's amazing. And we are going through 13 things we wish we knew back when we were starting our channels. Both, of course, Mary and Dr. Andrea and Think Media, we all start at zero. And there's things we maybe would have done differently, but it's helpful to have a guide on the way. And specifically as it relates to niche, I want to remind you that there is a limited time offer happening right now on a bundle of training where it's not just our signature course, Video Ranking Academy, but included in it is our program called YouTube Niche Finder. If you want to find your focus and narrow things down, learnvideo2023.com is where this limited offer is. We're doing a 1K to 1K challenge right now. And if you haven't registered for that, there's still a couple more days of that free challenge. But whenever we do these, it's when our best offer of the year is in terms of our online course and our community, as well as some really cool exclusive bonuses, including our brand new Shorts Masterclass, YouTube Shorts Masterclass that's being recorded in February, and you'll get a ticket. So all of that is at learnvideo2023.com. But I'm excited. We have so much value already. If you've been getting value, I'd love to hear your aha moment in the comments and hit the like button. We've already gotten through multiple tips and we're jumping into number 7, which is this is a growing industry and therefore it leads to many opportunities. And this was really inspired by you, Dr. Andrea. You said there's really a whole industry gravitating around YouTube. And so break down what you mean by that and some of the ways your worldview has expanded after starting your channel.
Oh my God, yes, I could talk a lot about a lot of things. One thing that I never imagined was I did this as a hobby for myself and to help my patients, but I never imagined that there would be opportunities, for example, to write a book or opportunities to be promoted at the university. I am being promoted and writing my dossier now for promotion to full professor at the University of Toronto because of YouTube. I get a lot of students and I got awards for mentoring awards because of YouTube. I got an award from the Alberta Pain Society because of this. So awards and recognition and promotion, but also the industry around me. I get so many requests that people want me to review products. I don't do product review. I still don't do it for some other reasons, but every day they want to send me products, and I like pillows and a treadmill and massage guns for me to use and review. I have an affiliate marketing with Amazon, and there are a lot of products that people buy there, and I get commission, even not related to the things that I mentioned in my products, but the 24 hours after they connect to Amazon and they buy anything, I get commission. So I get a lot of, I use my gift cards from Amazon, and I have bought a lot of books to read. So, and not only this, but there is also opportunity to collaborate with other people. I did some videos with other YouTubers in the area of medicine, pharmacy, people that I would never even know that they existed, and we could do things together. So I think this is great because it opened up some plan for me in the future. Like if one day I can't practice medicine anymore, I want to retire from medicine, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It's going to be creating content, educating people, online courses. That's another thing that I'd like to start this year, online courses, because people are asking me if I have online courses. So I think I need to start that.
Man, it's so inspiring. And, I feel very privileged because we were able to connect off camera before. And it's in a bizarre turn of events, as you both have been putting in a lot of hard work, growing your channels. You both have had a similar opportunity because of YouTube. You both have gotten book deals and publishers have reached out. I mean, tell us just a brief, and I don't want to go too far off script here, but Mary, maybe we'll start with you. I was like, when is your cookbook coming out? And I'm just joking. And you go, well, actually, it turns out. And so just tell that quick story. And then I want to hear Dr. Andrea briefly about your book deal as well.
Yes, as I shared with you, I was very surprised that someone emailed me, and, I was thinking just scam, you get these emails and all. And my husband said, no, it's legitimate. This is coming from Random House. And I'm like, oh my gosh, And as I said, I was discovered, Sean. I'm telling you, I have to thank you and Video Ranking Academy, because if I didn't have a YouTube channel, this would have never happened. The man saw me making sauerkraut. And
you answered a specific question. You put out that video. This guy from the book publisher discovers your sauerkraut video, and then that leads to a book deal. And we're going to have you back on the podcast closer to the book launch, but it's coming out in August 2023.
August 2023.
Do you know what it's called or what it's about? I mean, I'm sure.
I have to surprise you.
Okay, you're surprised. I mean, we can, all the wisdom and everything on your channel. And then Dr. Andrea, your book's coming out sooner. And we're
I
going to have you back
imagined. Oh my God, Sean, that was something that I never imagined. Actually, when I opened my channel in 2019, I had just turned 50 years old, and I said, oh, I should write a book, but I don't know, I'm too lazy, I don't want to. So I will open a YouTube channel. But then I had so many scripts because of all the videos that I had published. So I said, maybe it's time. And I listened to one of your podcasts, in the Think Media podcast, that you said, you have to write a book to determine, to establish yourself as an authority. I said, oh my God, okay, Sean is talking to me. So I called a publisher, no agent, no nothing. I waited until I had 100,000 subscribers that I got the plate. And then I chose one publisher. And I said, listen, I like to write a book for people with chronic pain. And he said, who are you? And so when I told him that I had a channel with 100,000 subscribers, he said, okay, let's talk about it. So then he assigned me an editor. So my book is coming this April. It's for people with chronic pain. It has QR codes to a lot of my videos. And I'm super excited. I think the book is going to help a lot of people with chronic pain around the world.
Congratulations to both of you. And, it's such a powerful illustration. We could spend a 25-part series on the podcast about how this industry is growing and how it can lead to so many different opportunities. The publishing industry is flipped. You did the right move first. You built the platform first, the audience first. And I think, what was the quote? Whose quote was that before we got on camera? That what the publisher said was, it's like
Yeah, the editor said to me, oh yeah, we just go on YouTube now and look for people that we want to have write books for us.
So we go to the publisher at Random House says we go to YouTube to look for people to write books for us. Friends, YouTube is the place to plant your flag, and the world is taking note. And so I love that. This is a growing industry, but this gets into tip number 8. We're going through 13 tips. Don't fall into the comparison trap. And don't worry if you think your videos aren't as great as other creators. Just do your best. I think, Mary, this was you. Tell me a little bit about this. And, you started with that. Don't worry if your videos aren't as great as others. We're all starting at different places. What has kind of been your journey with this tip?
Yeah, I think it's very easy, especially when you're starting out and you're still new to kind of finding your comfort zone in terms of how you're going to make your videos, how you're going to present yourself, how you're going to start your video, all of that. And you make your video and you do the best that you can, but your chances are you're watching other videos on YouTube as well, maybe in your niche, maybe in other areas that have interest to you. And you look at these other videos and you're like, wow, those people are really good. My video doesn't look as good, and it's easy to start making that comparison, and then you can become discouraged. And that's where you have to stop comparing yourself to other people, because going back to what we said earlier, you have to be persistent, you have to keep your spirits up, and you just have to forge ahead and compare. I really learned, and I think this was something that, I learned either in the from people talking in the Facebook group and from things that you and your team have said, compare yourself to yourself. Make your next video, compare your next, or make your next video a little better, just like one bit better. I forget exactly your exact term, but just make it a little better, just do a little better each time, and compare yourself to yourself and compete with yourself, just making yourself a little better every few steps of the way. And you will do so much for your mental state, for your psyche. Watch videos, enjoy them. When you stop comparing yourself to other people, you do better and you enjoy watching other videos more because you're looking at them to learn or to know whatever you want to know. You're not comparing yourself. Get out of that mindset. Say, I'm just going to compare myself to the last video I made. How can I be better?
It's powerful wisdom. I mean, I've heard it said that comparison is the killer of creativity and the thief of joy. And number 9 is find a posting schedule that works for you. I want to hear from you in just a second, Mary. And Dr. Andrea, you already shared some cool tips about batching, but I'd love for you to also speak to, you kind of upped your game recently in terms of uploads by tapping into YouTube Shorts. So what is your kind of posting schedule and some tips you've learned?
Okay, so this changed a lot over time. In the beginning, 2019, I was able to post only one video a month. That was what I could do because I was doing everything, learning everything, and that was fine. I was happy with that, and I kept posting one video a month until end of 2020, and I was very successful already. By January 2021, I had 20,000 subscribers, still posting one video a month. And I was still not even monetizing because I had no idea that you could monetize when you had 1,000 subscribers. But anyways, then in 2021, I said, okay, I think now I learned the craft and I'm going to start posting once a week. That's when I started. And one long video once a week. And only, and that was possible because I hired my son to edit my videos. And now this January 2023, I said, I'm going to post every day. So one long video once a week and one short every day. And so far it's been working. It's a little bit more work to my schedule, but I will try to do that because I think the art of shorts is really fun and I like it. And I learned also from your Think Medium that batch record is the way to do. And I'm so happy that I learned that because last Saturday I recorded 6 videos, but my record was 9 videos in one Saturday. So then I'm free for 9 weeks. And last weekend I recorded 6 long videos and 53 shorts.
You are a machine. And it's cool to see the results too here. I mean, this is looking using vidIQ at Dr. Andrea's stats. 1.3 million views in the last 28 days, 14,000 new subscribers, with the channel getting a lot of momentum. But I think part of that too is 30 uploads. And the secret to those more uploads are YouTube Shorts. And we always say that, like, if you double your uploads, you can double your views because you are also giving yourself more at bats. You've got 14,000, 12,000, 34,000 on videos that are, of course, arguably easier to produce. You're limited to 60 seconds. You're limited to vertical. And so it's so inspiring to see, and definitely will link to both channels in the show notes so that you can even kind of look at some of the lessons there. But Mary, I would love to hear about your publishing schedule. You articulated this. You said, find something that works for you. I'm inspired that Dr. Andrea also said that. I only posted one a month early on because people were asking, especially in the challenge, like, what is the perfect number? Well, the perfect number is what you're actually able to do, because it doesn't really matter if you can't post one every week. That's okay. Post one a month. But if you can increase your schedule, especially as you develop the skills and the momentum, then do that as well. And so how about for you? What have you learned about not worrying about what everybody else is doing in this area?
Yes, I think it's very important. The only way, at least for me, and I think probably other people can relate to this, is if you're going to be consistent, you have to find a schedule that works for you. if someone posts every day or 3 times a week or whatever the case may be, and you see no way of being able to do that, then don't worry about it. Post what works for you. And I put out one video on Saturday morning, and then I've started doing shorts. I have a lot to learn. And I just, so far, Dr. Andrea is an inspiration to me, because so far I'm just putting one out on Wednesday. And so I release, I try to release things at the same time. I'm in the central time zones. I try to do 10 o'clock Saturday morning for my long form content. And then Wednesday, somewhere in that 10 o'clock range for my short. And that's really all I can do. Some of my videos, the regular videos, not the shorts, are so long and so detailed that sometimes if I tried to put out 2 a week, it would be very hard for me. And I recognize that. And I want to be able to also, live a life. I don't want to be under a lot of stress where I'm overtired or whatever the case may be, because all of that shows through in videos. If you are finding that, you're tired or you're not enjoying doing it anymore, you may not be consistent. You may not persevere. And so that's why it's very important to find a schedule that works for you. And like Dr. Andrea, I try to batch film also, and I will know in advance. I usually put together an editorial calendar for the whole year with the 4 videos and maybe a few extra ideas. And then I also leave myself a little wiggle room if there's a particular trend in my niche that my viewers want me to address. But I pretty much know, for the most part, everything I'm going to film for 1 year. And so I will film my 4 videos a month. If I can, I'll try to do it in 1 day. And if not, then I'll just set aside 2 days and I'll just do 2 and 2 if I have exceptionally long, detailed videos. And I give myself a little wiggle room, and I don't stress if I can't exactly stick with that schedule. And I also build in breaks, especially around the holidays, so that I'm not, I'm not going to make my husband work on Father's Day weekend saying, you got to help me edit this video, And so I will build in breaks around holidays, and that really helps. And that way I'm not overtired, I'm not stressed, and I can manage it. But whatever you decide, stick with it and be consistent, because your viewers are going to start to expect that video to come out at that particular time, whatever time you pick. If it's once a month at a certain time, stick with it. And eventually over time, if you can add in extra videos, all the better. And if you can add in shorts, all the better. Like you said, the more you do, the more views, yes, you are going to get. And so, but do it in stages, just be consistent and do what you can handle.
I'm very inspired, Mary, because both you and Dr. Andrea, I know we all share this similar ethic for family, for health, naturally. Both of you care about healthy living and natural food, and Dr. Andrea is helping us be healthy and overcome pain. But what's inspiring is also one of the reasons we all love YouTube is because it can support your lifestyle, because it can work for you when you're not working.
Yes.
So you've just developed an asset as well. And it's like, when I look at your metrics and how you followed the Video Ranking Academy system, you probably, of course, realize that with your steady 4 uploads a month in the last 28 days, you grew 24,000 subscribers and 1.6 million views. And that wasn't because of the 4 uploads. It was because the library of content that you've built. And so it's just so inspiring, because when you're on a break, you've got videos working for you that are 5 years old. When you want to recover and rest, you've got videos working for you. And it was inspiring because, Dr. Andrea has hired her son. And so other people hire editors, but your YouTube partner manager that reached out to you actually said, so tell me about your team. And you were like, team?
It's just
me and my husband. Like that's and you're on your way to 1 million subscribers, a gold play button, and it just proves that having a system, having a rhythm, pacing yourself as well. This wasn't overnight for any of us. This has been building for years. But when you feel the emotions of hitting that gold play button, that's going to be absolutely incredible. We're going through 13 tips, and I appreciate you being here for the power round. I mean, I tried to consolidate it down to 10, but you guys wrote such incredible stuff. We had to take it to 13. So number 10 is learn how YouTube works and get help. And Dr. Andrea, I love what you said. You said, I learned a new science called YouTubeology.
Yeah.
I never heard that before, but I know exactly what you mean. But break that down about, your journey of studying, learning, investing in yourself in terms of getting to where you're at to almost 500,000 subscribers on YouTube today.
Yeah, you have to be a self-learner because there's so much to learn. Not just about the algorithm, but learning about how to post. What do you choose? I put closed captions in all of my videos, and I put now in 53 different languages because people ask me. So I'm always learning, how do I put closed captions in these languages? And how do I turn on this button? And what is important, what is not? So it's a new science. It's a new way of, it's a platform that if you don't master it, the analytics is another thing that is overwhelming, a lot of data. The other tools that you have around that can help you. I really love vidIQ because it helps me so much, but I did not know it existed until I came to your course. So there are a lot of things. You need to be ready to be a student of YouTube and spend time not just doing videos, but learning about YouTube. I read what the CEO of YouTube, she writes. I listen to the YouTube creator. Every week they post, they have a YouTube channel, and every week they post what is new, what's changing on YouTube, all of those things. So it's investing your time in learning a new skill.
And as you were specifically learning the Video Reiki Academy system, the 7 R's, was it overwhelming, a lot to learn? Was it easy to follow? And what is your relationship with now having a system today?
Yeah, I when I joined VRA, I did the 1K challenge in May 2021, and I joined VRA in June. I kind of devoured the materials. I did everything. I have my binder there with notes and everything. It was just God sent because it opened my mind and said, "Oh, it's everything organized, like everything that I try to learn myself, and you put in a way that makes sense." And your book also very helpful. So I'm really thankful that I came across the VRA Academy. I'm big. I send people to the VRA all the time, as you probably know, and I think you need that. It's like school, people. A lot of my colleagues ask me, where did you learn YouTube? I'd like to open a YouTube channel. I said, there is a school for that. There is a YouTube school you have. And then I tell them about the VRA.
That's amazing. And thank you for your kind words. So glad you've been getting value. Mary, one of the things you wrote in regards to this was also, I know there's different methodologies for YouTube. There's different ways to approach it. There's lots of different paths to success. But you said that when you first joined Video Reiki Academy, you had some of your personal opinions, even some ego, and it was a little bit different than how you thought you were going to approach YouTube. So what was your experience with that, and then the result after implementing what you learned?
Well, yes, I think that's very true. You kind of have I think for a lot of people, when you're thinking of doing a YouTube channel, you have a plan in your mind. Now, mind you, I knew nothing about making a YouTube channel, but, I think sometimes we all have a little bit of ego, and we're like, oh, well, okay, I may not know how to do a YouTube channel, but I know a few things about cooking, and I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to have this title or this thumbnail or whatever the case may be, just from, again, not comparing because you don't have a channel yet, but you're just looking at what other people are doing. And so you think you know how you're going to learn how to do a YouTube channel, but you in your mind know how you're going to design it or whatever. And then when I took your course, and I also, like Dr. Andrea, I've read both your first and the revised book that you have, the revised edition, the second edition. And I had to laugh at myself. You know, I remember the very first day watching the first video in Video Ranking Academy, and I was very humbled, and I was like, whoa, I have a lot to learn. I need to put my ego on the back burner. I don't know the right way to do this. I don't know the right way to do a title. I don't know the right way to make a thumbnail. I don't even know the right way how to make a video. You know, all the things that you teach in Video Ranking Academy with your formula is very important, and you have to follow it. I get sometimes a little frustrated with people because they'll say, oh, tell me, how did you build your channel, whatever the case may be. And I'll say, I took Sean Cannell's Video Ranking Academy. But I'm going to tell you that when you take his Video Ranking Academy, do what he tells you to do. Put your ego on the back burner. Stop thinking you have the right answers. Stop thinking you know what to do, because you know nothing. Sean has proved time and time again that he knows how to teach this, and you have to do what he has to do. And I've known people who are like, oh, well, you know, I want to do it this way or that way. I say, no. Do what he tells you to do. Follow his program. Follow the plan. You have the best. I think, in my humble opinion, this is the best plan out there, because you're very simple. You make it very clear. So whether you have experience or no experience with filming, none of it matters. You start right at the beginning. You make it very clear for people, but they have to follow you. They have to do what you tell them to do. So if you can just assume that you really don't know what you should do, and you're going to follow your mentor, Sean, and his team, you're going to have success. I think Dr. Andrea and I proved that. You know, we both followed his plan, and be a learner. As Sean says, be a lifelong learner, and just follow the plan.
Man, I appreciate your kind words. And I think, you know, what's humbling to hear you say all that, but it really is a system. And I mean, that has been my dream and my mission, was to break it into a system so that it could be repeatable and that there could be predictable success, not just one person gets lucky or because of a particular thing. So thank you for sharing that. And it goes beyond, of course, Video Ranking Academy. I mean, that is our system, and that is our course. And we do have that special on at Learn Video 2023. But as Dr. Andrea mentioned as well, like, there's continuous learning. So we hope you are a part of our community and others. I mean, it's like, we're voracious learners here. And I know both of you are as well, reading, podcasts, because it's a changing industry. And the only way to win is to learn faster than anyone else. I heard that quote before. There's so many, it's overwhelming in kind of today's world. There's new tools, there's AI tools, but all of it is also helping us go faster if we keep learning. And so I appreciate your kind words. Well, we're going to land the plane. We got the final 3 tips, and we're going to jump into number 11. And I'm going to stick with Mary on this one, just because you had a unique experience with collaborating with channels that weren't aligned with yours, and a little bit of advice on collabs. We saw that there was open doors, and collabs can be a good thing, but what's your warning here, Mary?
I think you need to be very careful when you do collaborations. First of all, you need to know a lot about the other person, and you need to know about their channel, and you need to know about their audience. It's not helpful or useful to you to do a collaboration with someone who doesn't have a similar audience to you. And I made some mistakes like that in the beginning. And I wish someone had told me that, because, to give you an example, someone had said to me, let's do a collaboration. And the person had a channel, larger than me, very nice person. And she said, let's show what people got, let's show what we got at the thrift shop or something like that. And so I thought, well, that's not really in my niche, but just a nice person. Okay, I'll do it. The comments that I got, oh my gosh, and I'm sure I lost subscribers, was, I don't care what you bought at the thrift shop. can you please make a sourdough bread? And it was a comedy, it was a little bit of a comedy show. And I made a few more mistakes like that. And then I realized, okay, if I'm going to do a collaboration, and then also too, you need to make sure that the people you do collaborations with are nice people and that they don't say something uncomplimentary to you, But I think that you pick people that are in your niche that make such a big difference. I've done collaborations with other traditional food cooks, and I think those have done, they've gone very well. Sometimes I was contacted, and this is something I want to say to those of you who are new, if you're just beginning to grow your YouTube channel, never be afraid to reach out to a larger YouTuber in your niche. I've had people contact me who had maybe 10,000 subscribers, and they were like, oh, can I do a collaboration with you? And the person and I got to talking, and we had so much in common, loving the book, Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon. We just really hit it off. And so we did a collaboration on how to make sourdough pizza pie. And so that's just a little thing that I want to share. But be careful. Don't do things with people. And Dr. Andrea touched on this before about people asking her to make videos that are over and above chronic pain. You got to stay with what your viewers want. And you don't want to get comments like, I don't care what you bought at the thrift shop.
I love this theme too, because what you're hitting on is what you both mentioned earlier, which is focus, like staying focused, staying aligned. Just getting subscribers is not necessarily a good thing. Because what if they're the wrong subscribers? What if it confuses the YouTube algorithm? And if you want to write down one of the acronyms we've been doing in the challenges, FOCUS stands for follow one course until successful. Focus. Follow one course. And so, oh, there's a really famous person that wants to collab. Well, if they bring an audience that's not going to engage with your future content or the brand of your channel, then it actually could be more harmful than it is helpful. So I love that tip. Well, we're going through 13 tips. We're on number 12, and this is probably the one I'm most excited about because we've talked a lot about, of course, the opportunity on YouTube to make money, the opportunity to get subscribers, growing your influence, growing your income. But ultimately, YouTube, number 12, can make a real impact in people's lives. And you've both touched on this, but I want to start with Dr. Andrea. Like, when you think about what are some of the stories you've heard or the difference that you starting a YouTube channel has made in the lives of people?
Oh my God, there's so many stories, Sean. And I remember one that really made me cry. I made a video about shoulder pain, and it's for tendinitis of the shoulder, bursitis. It's one of my longest videos, and it has 7.5 million views. And then I got a comment. On Facebook, a person from Africa contacted me, and he said his wife, 40 years old, his wife had a stroke, and she had shoulder pain, and he asked me if she could use the same exercises. Well, I never respond to people giving medical advice. That would be unprofessional. So I said to him, sorry, I can't say if anything about your wife's condition, but I said, this video is not for that kind of pain. I don't have a video for that. So I cried when I read that comment, and I sent that response, and I said, I know how to help that person. So I opened a comment again, and I said, I'm going to make a video just for your wife. So I made another video of shoulder pain after stroke, because the exercises were different. And then I replied to him and said, here's the right video for your wife. And then he sent me a video of her. He recorded her with his camera and sent a video to my private. He messaged me on Facebook, and he said, look, she's doing your exercise. And then I cried again. So, where in the world I would imagine that I have an impact on a woman in Africa who had a stroke and she can't afford physiotherapy, or there's no physiotherapy where she lives. And I'm not a physiotherapist, I'm a doctor, but whatever I know, I want to share with the world. And there are so many other stories of people who told me that they can't afford exercises or even to see a pain specialist like me, and I'm the only resource that they have. It really touches my heart, and that's what gives me energy every day to be thinking about this work, and gives you personal satisfaction. And that's why I'm here in this earth, to help people. And if I know all of this about chronic pain, I want to share with anyone who suffers from this terrible disease.
Man, that is super inspiring. And I'm curious, Mary, you've gotten emails, you've gotten comments. What's maybe one story of just discovering the impact that your content has made?
Well, the most inspiring and story that it was in a comment that someone had left me. It was a young woman, and she told me her story that she never really knew her mother and didn't have a good upbringing, and now was in her early 20s, and she was in therapy, and I couldn't believe she was leaving me all of this. And her therapist said, yes, you don't have a mother. Yes, she didn't apparently have any good role models in her life. And the therapist said, find someone like on TV or in the movies that you feel is like a nice person, someone that maybe you want to emulate, to grow up to be like, and then just start to watch that person, learn about them, read about them, whatever the case may be, and learn from them. And I couldn't believe it. I was shocked when she ends the note and she says, you're that person for me. You're the mother, or in her case, she was saying grandmother, the grandmother I never had. And I watch your videos, and I watch how kind you speak to people, and you're not a zealot. You don't tell people they have to do everything perfect. You tell them it's okay if you're not perfect. Just start with a roast chicken and go from there. Don't worry about anything. We're not expected to be perfect. We're home cooks. And she said, I also read how you write to people in the comments, and I'm learning your way of speaking and your way of commenting and how nice you are to people, even when maybe they're not so nice to you. I couldn't believe this. I mean, this was so beyond teaching somebody how to make a roast chicken and make chicken bone broth that even now when I think about it, it really touches a chord with me. And she has always stayed in touch with me. And the fact that just having cooking videos could have an impact on somebody like that, this is why I say there's somebody out there who's looking for you. And somebody who wants to connect with you and learn from you. And maybe even that's a very heartfelt and touching story. But I have people who will say, oh, I just love watching your channel. I'm not a very good cook, but I'm learning how to speak English from you, which is cute. But it's those stories, and her story was the strongest one that had the strongest effect on me. But I do get a lot of comments like that. Oh, you're the mother or the grandmother I never had. No one ever taught me how to make these things. No one ever taught me, how to, because I also have videos on home canning, how to can foods. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I never knew how to do this. And the fact that people feel that way, that I could be a motherly figure or a grandmotherly figure to them, it brings me a lot of joy.
Man, I was getting chills as you were talking, and it's inspiring because it's so true. Because even if you're just making cooking videos, you're creating community. You could be encouraging somebody. Someone said earlier they discovered us during the pandemic, and we were helpful to their mental health because people are in our homes. We don't have mentors or a grandmothers in our life or different things. And so maybe you're just doing gaming content or you're doing something practical and you don't think of it as having this deep impact. I want to encourage everybody listening to this. Your content can make a real impact in people's lives. And I want you to imagine, I just watched, I'm not sure, Dr. Andrea and Mary, if if you've ever seen It's a Wonderful Life. You probably have. It's a classic movie. I'm 39 and I hadn't watched it, until my wife was like shaming me. She's like, wait, you haven't seen it? And I was like, yeah, I've never seen it. So it was this Christmas season that I just watched it. And it just proposes a powerful question of a guy who was experiencing a lot of challenges and being very discouraged and even suicidal. An angel from heaven came and showed him his life had he never existed, and all the people that would have missed out on his impact, and he would have never married his wife, so they would have never had kids. And maybe that's a little bit profound and big vision to be talking to this, but I think about it. You have almost 1 million subscribers, Mary. You have almost 1 million subscribers, Dr. Andrea, 500,000, both growing at this rapid clip. And it's like, if you had never punched fear in the face and pressed record, those subscribers wouldn't be there. Those views wouldn't be there. The shoulder challenges that individual was having discovering your video, Dr. Andrea, like that, she might not have had that breakthrough. Somebody that was it's just bone broth, but the emotional state they were in. And I know it's kind of heavy, but I want to mention a quote you wrote, Dr. Andrea, related to this. You wrote when you were filling out these tips, your content can make a real impact on people's lives. You said, with influence comes greater responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes maybe in the challenge, we think about like, okay, yeah, let's grow. And yeah, let's make an impact. But I think that sometimes we don't think about the responsibility of being a content creator. So just speak a little bit to that before we jump into the 13th point, Dr. Andrea. I love that she shared that. And so you feel the weight on your shoulders. What is that like?
Yeah, especially because I'm talking to people who have chronic pain, Sean, and chronic pain is such a hard disease. You're suffering, you're tired, you don't have time for your family, and there's not an ending to the suffering. And so when I'm putting myself there and trying to teach them, and sometimes I have to say hard words to them. I have to say, sometimes chronic pain will not go away. So you have to learn how to manage your flare-ups. It is hard because I don't know, thousands of people will listen to me and what they will do with that information. Am I helping them? I really want to help. But what if someone feels the other way? Oh, this is never going to go away. I will end my life. So I really need to show compassion, empathy, give them hope. I think for me, when I'm recording the videos, I try to smile. I think smiling to the camera is so important because these people need a smile. They need hope. They need so I always try to end with, my shoulders relax and breathing. And I teach them relaxation because it is hard. And I don't want to give more pessimistic views and pessimism to them, but I need to tell them the truth. Chronic pain is chronic. You have to learn, and sometimes will help you to get better, but most of the time you will have to manage your pain. So that's a heavy weight on my shoulders, but I read the comments and people say that it has been helpful. Most people complain that they still are in pain. They're trying to do things and they're not getting better. But a lot of people are feeling better because pain is so subjective.
So that was number 12. Your content can make a real impact in people's lives, bringing us to number 13. And I love this one. Prepare for success. 13 things we wish we knew when we were starting. And this one surprised me because you kind of submitted your thoughts on this topic ahead of time. And I pulled this one out and I have a question for you. We're going to start with Dr. Andrea. You've put in a lot of hard work. You have had setbacks, challenges. Any content creator knows whether the audio was wrong or challenges in editing or learning new skills. But after all your hard work, I mean, you've blown past 100,000 subscribers. But when you look at this picture, I'm just curious, Dr. Andrea, like, how does this make you feel when you reflect over the sacrifice and the hard work and the impact? What are just some of the emotions that come to mind when you think about all that you've achieved on YouTube and getting over that fear of starting and punching fear in the face and growing your channel?
Yeah, so I like to say that for me, success is when my mother started recommending my videos to all of her friends, because my mother was the most critical person of me, right? In the beginning, I didn't even tell her that I was doing videos because I was afraid how she was going to look at my hair and everything. But when I crossed that bridge and she now starts recommending, for me, that's success. But I think success is when, you know, you get people looking at you and they look at you different, and they think that you are making tons of money and now you became a YouTuber. That's another thing that success brings with YouTube. And some people tell me, don't say that you are a YouTuber because YouTuber has a bad connotation. Tell that you are a creator. And I said, well, in the hospital, my patients, I really have to think about how they are thinking about me? I have patients that they say, oh, my doctor is now a YouTuber. That's a bad thing. But others that look at me and they say, oh, it's almost like looking at a celebrity. And it comes with the price, because your image is now your public image. And I go to places now like medical conferences and people look at me and they point to me, and I don't like that, because I say, I'm not famous. I'm just doing my work. So you have to be prepared for people that will see you as a YouTuber and what is the image that brings, and other people that will admire you. And when I've been proposed many times on YouTube, people who want to marry me. And so you need to be prepared for all of those positives and
People want
negative
to marry
signs.
me. I'm getting proposals, because of.
Yeah, I guess you too. I guess you also have those kind of comments. And so you need to be prepared for the bad side of success and the good side of success. Something that I never thought that this would really happen. When I opened my channel, I said only my patients will watch this, and I will be, nobody will notice me. But it didn't happen. A lot of people noticed me, and YouTube started recommending me to the whole world. And yeah, you need to be prepared, because you never know where this is going to take you.
Yes, such wisdom. And Mary, I want to hear from you as we think about this as well. You've had some interesting stories. Now you're getting recognized in public and whatnot. But I am curious. I just want to say I just respect your hustle and your hard work, and it's just amazing to be a part of your journey, book deal, all this kind of stuff. But when you look at this picture and you think about when YouTube sent you this play button and you opened it up, how did it feel? And how did it feel related to all of the work and effort you had put in up until that point?
Well, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I had 100,000 subscribers. I felt so happy that there were 100,000 viewers who wanted to join me on this traditional foods journey and keeping these traditional food skills alive. And being in my age too, in my 60s. And I remember when I shared that play button with my viewers, I had my husband and son here. And it's in terms of preparing for success, it was so wonderful to have a son in his 20s who's like, my mother's a YouTuber, and he was very cute, because he would say at his college, especially now with the size of the channel, that girls will come up to them and say, oh, I love your mother. I watch her on YouTube. And he's like, Mom, you're like the social media person, and I'm not, and I'm in my 20s, but it's very cute, but oh, sorry.
That's amazing. Well, tell me the story too. You said, as your channel grows, people are going to start to recognize you when you're out and about. Has that happened for you?
Oh, yes, it happens quite a bit. I laugh. Sometimes people will, they'll just stop me and they'll go, is your name Mary? And I'm like, yes. And then they'll say, do you have a YouTube channel, Mary's Nest? And yes, and the funny thing about it is, everybody wants to take selfies with you. Make sure you leave the house looking nice, because I'm thinking that there are selfies out there of me not looking, my hair is like disheveled probably, and I tend to not wear makeup, talking like what Dr. Andrea was saying. I try to put a little makeup on before I make my videos, but I generally don't wear it out in public, and I'm looking probably a little more disheveled. But no, it's cute. People start, they know all your little buzzwords, as I was telling you earlier, with the bone broth. People will just shout out to me, rich and gelatinous. I know you. And, it's sort of the little tagline that I have: bone broth, ferment, sourdough, and more. And it's very cute. People are very nice, but there are pros and cons. It's difficult because you feel bad when people come up and they hug you and they saying very nice things to you, and they want to exchange phone numbers with you, and it's interesting. If it's just locally here, I'll meet people at my grocery store and they'll say, oh, I know who you are, and with them I've exchanged phone numbers, and I just, they're right in the community. I don't worry too much about it. But if I'm traveling, that's a little awkward, situation. But they'll send me text messages of their ferments or whatever, and that's nice, And then, yes, like Dr. Andrea said, you do get men which I find it very funny, given that I'm 65 years old, who want to marry you. And I'll have gentlemen who live in other countries and they'll say, good thing we're an ocean apart.
Yikes. And that's probably a topic for a whole nother. I know we want to have you back on the podcast in terms of practical tips. I mean, this is a real prepare for success, that there's just certain things that can come with being known and being seen. And we didn't really even have time to get into your tips, Mary, about where you talk about, don't show the outside of your house or your address, like different practical things. So if you would love to learn more from Mary's Nest and Dr. Andrea, show them some love in the comments, hit the like button if you've gotten value here in the challenge group. We still have a giveaway. Mel's going to come on in a bit. We're going to do some more things. But I just want to acknowledge both of you. Mary, I'm just so grateful for you. Thanks for believing in us in VRA early on. I mean, and back in 2017, jumping in, but then putting in the work. Because yes, there's a system, and yes, there's knowledge to learn, but I just respect your consistency and your hustle and just the value you add to the world. I'm one of your subscribers, and I'll see your community tab friends, community tab posts, and it always opens with sweet friends. You call everybody, hello, sweet friends. And the love that you emit is real, and you're helping people's health and their energy. And all these things that I love, boosting your immunity with turmeric and all, bone broth. So you're just an absolute inspiration to us. And there's a lot of love coming to you in the comments. I encourage you, check those out in Facebook and on YouTube later, because people just have incredible things to say. And then Dr. Andrea, literally with repetitive strain injury and some carpal tunnel-like symptoms, I have watched your videos too. I'm in my home office. So our bedroom is across the hall from here, and we've got a TV in there, and I'll open up YouTube and I'll follow along with exercises you put out into the world and with your content. And both of you just are such incredible humans. You're leveraging YouTube, you're building your influence. It's so cool, all the benefits and the accolades, but you're just mission driven and you're purpose driven. And so I'm so honored that you take the time to pour into our community, and that you would just be carrying the torch that we hope that we've lit here a little bit at Think Media. We want to help purpose-driven people that are, making great content, making a great living, but also making a major difference in the world. And so, Dr. Andrea, thank you for all the good you're doing. Y'all already have the momentum, but your future is so bright. We all got to wear sunglasses. You're going to get that gold play button, Mary. Dr. Andrea, you're going to be at 1 million. It's a matter of time, like as you just stay consistent. And it's just so inspiring. So thank you for coming on today. And we're going to jump into this next part of our challenge, Think Media Podcast. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and click or tap the screen, because we just got the channel back. And so there's a new episode of the podcast out that you can check out. Hit like if you got value. My name's Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel.